Something is entering your room, and you never hear it. While your body sleeps, the spirit realm is moving, objects, impressions, seeds of darkness. What if your bedroom has become a silent battlefield? What if an ex-witch is about to expose what was planted right beside you? Tonight, the hidden things are coming into the light. You thought it was just a nightmare. You told yourself it was stress. You blamed your mind, your memories, your exhaustion. But what if that fear was not born inside you? What if it was planted? In the occult world, bedrooms are considered spiritual entry points, not because of what you do in them, but because of what happens when you sleep. Sleep is a vulnerable state. Your physical body rests, but your spirit is still active, and that is the moment darkness looks for. An ex-witch once confessed something chilling. She said the easiest people to influence were not the rebellious ones, not the violent ones, not the openly sinful ones. The easiest targets were the tired believers, the distracted ones, the ones who prayed less and slept more. Because when the prayer life weakens, the spiritual guard drops. And when the guard drops, the bedroom becomes an open door. She revealed that the first thing demons try to plant is fear. Not a visible object, not something you can touch, but a seed. A seed that grows quietly. A seed that takes root in your dreams. You begin to notice it slowly. You start waking up with a strange heaviness. Your chest feels tight for no reason. You feel watched even when you're alone. At night your thoughts become darker. You imagine things that never used to cross your mind. You feel unsafe in places that once felt peaceful. That is not random. That is not just stress. That is the seed of fear beginning to grow. The ex-witch explained that fear is the easiest spiritual doorway to open. Because fear weakens authority. Fear confuses the mind. Fear makes you question your protection. And once fear enters, everything else follows. She described rituals where spirits were assigned to certain homes, not to attack immediately, but to observe, to wait, to plant fear through dreams, whispers, and spiritual impressions. You might wake up from a dream where someone was chasing you, or a shadow was standing at the corner of your room, or you were trapped, unable to move. You brush it off. You say it was just a dream. But the next night, it happens again, and again, and again. Soon, you begin to fear the night itself. You delay going to bed. You leave lights on. You keep the television running just to feel less alone. The seed has taken root. And here is the dangerous part. Once fear becomes normal, it stops feeling like an attack. It feels like your personality, your identity, your reality. You start saying things like, I've always been anxious. I'm just a fearful person. I don't sleep well. That's just how I am. But the ex-witch said something that should shake you. She said fear is often the first spiritual object planted in a bedroom because it prepares the ground for deeper oppression. Fear weakens your prayers. Fear makes you doubt your authority. Fear silences your voice in the spirit. And when your voice is silent, darkness grows louder. She told of one assignment where they targeted a young believer. He had a strong prayer life, strong faith, but he was exhausted from work and life pressures. So they did not attack him directly. They targeted his sleep. Night after night, he began to have disturbing dreams. Nothing violent at first, just unsettling, just strange, just uncomfortable. Then came the sleep paralysis, the feeling of a presence in the room, the inability to move, the sensation of something watching him. Within months, his prayer life collapsed, not because he lost faith, but because fear drained his strength. He stopped praying at night. He stopped worshipping before bed. He just wanted to fall asleep as fast as possible. And that was the goal all along. Because once fear owns your nights, it starts controlling your days. Your decisions become cautious. Your confidence fades. Your spiritual authority weakens. But here is the revelation. Fear cannot survive where faith is activated. The ex-witch admitted something powerful. She said the most frustrating targets were the ones who prayed before sleep, the ones who spoke scriptures over their rooms, the ones who anointed their pillows and beds. She said those bedrooms felt different, heavy, protected, untouchable. Spirits assigned to those homes would retreat. Not because they wanted to, but because they were forced to. This is where your authority begins. If fear was planted, it can be uprooted. If darkness entered, it can be expelled. But you must stop treating fear like a personality trait. It is not who you are. It is something that was planted. And anything planted by darkness can be removed by light. Tonight, before you sleep, you must take your authority back. You must pray over your room. Speak life into your space. Command peace into your atmosphere. Because your bedroom was never meant to be a battlefield. It was meant to be a sanctuary. And the moment you reclaim it, the seed of fear begins to die. You may think lust begins with a thought, or with an image, or with temptation on a screen. But the ex-witch revealed something far more disturbing. She said lust is often planted in the bedroom, long before you ever feel it in your mind. It is not always your desire. Sometimes it is an atmosphere. She explained that in the occult world, bedrooms are considered strategic places to plant spirits of sexual impurity. Why? Because the bedroom is where you are most vulnerable. It is where you relax your guard. It is where your body rests. It is where intimacy takes place. And anything sacred becomes a target for corruption. She described how spirits of lust are not always sent to create immediate, obvious sin. Instead, they are sent to change the atmosphere, to make the room feel different, heavier, warmer, more sensual, more suggestive. At first, you don't notice it. You just feel a strange restlessness at night, a wandering mind, an unusual attraction to certain thoughts you never used to entertain, desires that feel foreign, impulses that appear out of nowhere. You tell yourself it's normal. You say everyone deals with this. You shrug it off as human weakness. But the ex-witch said something shocking. She said some of those desires were never yours to begin with. They were planted. She described rituals where objects were spiritually assigned to bedrooms. Not always physical objects. Sometimes just spiritual assignments. Spirits instructed to hover, to influence, to stir the mind during sleep. These spirits would work slowly, not aggressively, not violently, but subtly. They would introduce sensual dreams, images that felt vivid, almost real. Dreams that left a physical reaction in the body. You wake up confused, embarrassed, disturbed. And then it happens again. And again, soon your thoughts begin to change during the day. You start noticing people differently. Your eyes linger longer. Your mind drifts more easily into impurity. You wonder, why am I thinking like this? You promise yourself you'll stop. You try to resist. But the thoughts keep returning, especially at night. Because the bedroom atmosphere has been altered. The ex-witch said that spirits of lust are often sent to destroy purity before they destroy destiny. Because once purity is compromised, guilt enters. And where guilt lives, confidence dies. You stop praying with boldness. You stop feeling worthy. You begin to hide from God instead of running toward Him. And that is exactly what the enemy wants. She told the story of a young woman who had once lived a pure life. She had strong convictions, strong boundaries, strong faith. But after moving into a new apartment, everything changed. She began having sensual dreams almost every night, dreams that felt real, dreams that involved unknown figures, dreams she could not control. Soon her thoughts during the day began to shift. Her standards slowly lowered. Her spiritual fire weakened. Within a year, she was living a life she once would have rebuked. And the ex-witch said the change did not start with her decisions. It started with her bedroom atmosphere. Because spirits of lust don't always push you immediately. They condition you first. They soften your resistance. They normalize impurity, until what once felt wrong begins to feel natural. But here is the truth that broke the ex-witch's loyalty to darkness. She said spirits of lust cannot remain in a room filled with holiness. She once entered a home to perform a spiritual assignment. But the moment she stepped into the bedroom, she felt something different. There was worship music playing softly. Scriptures were written on the walls. The atmosphere felt heavy, but not with darkness, with presence. Holy presence. She said the spirits assigned to that house refused to enter the bedroom. They hovered outside, restless, powerless. Because holiness creates a barrier that lust cannot cross. This is your revelation. If your bedroom has become a place of temptation, it can become a place of purity again. If the atmosphere was altered, it can be restored. You are not powerless. You are not doomed to struggle forever. You are not defined by your weakest thoughts. You have authority over your space. You can pray over your bed. You can anoint your room. You can fill your atmosphere with worship. You can speak purity into your environment. And when holiness fills the room, lust has nowhere to live, because darkness cannot plant seeds where light already reigns. Not every attack comes through fear. Not every spirit comes through lust. Some enter your bedroom with a different assignment, not to tempt you, not to terrify you, but to divide you. The ex-witch revealed that one of the most common spirits sent into bedrooms is the spirit of division. Because if peace is broken in your most private space, everything else begins to crumble. She said bedrooms are not just for sleep. They are places of connection, places of rest, places of intimacy, places where trust is built and restored. So the enemy targets that exact space, not always with visible attacks, but with subtle, emotional fractures. It begins quietly. Small arguments before bed, cold silences after conversations, unexplained irritation toward the person beside you. You don't even know why you're upset. You just feel tense, short-tempered, easily offended. The ex-witch said spirits of division specialize in emotional distortion. They twist simple situations into deep conflicts. They turn small misunderstandings into major battles. A simple comment suddenly feels like an insult. A harmless mistake feels like betrayal. A normal disagreement feels like war. And the bedroom becomes the battlefield. She explained that these spirits often work at night, when both people are tired, when emotions are raw, when defenses are low, because exhaustion makes you vulnerable, and vulnerability makes division easier. One night, it's a small argument. The next night, it's a deeper conflict. Soon, you stop talking altogether. The bed becomes cold. The silence becomes normal. Distance replaces connection. And here is the dangerous part. You begin to think the problem is the other person. You say, they've changed, they don't understand me, they don't respect me. But the ex-witch said many of those conflicts were spiritually engineered, not fake, not imaginary, but amplified, distorted, manipulated. She described how spirits of division are assigned to couples, families, and even roommates. Their goal is simple: break the peace of the bedroom, and the rest of the relationship will follow. Because when peace disappears at night, love struggles to survive during the day. She once participated in a ritual targeting a married couple. They were strong in faith, strong in prayer, strong in unity. So direct attacks didn't work. Instead, the assignment was subtle. Spirits were sent to influence their emotions at night, to stir irritation, to magnify small annoyances, to create tension in the bedroom. At first, nothing dramatic happened. Just small arguments, short replies, cold nights. But over time, the emotional distance grew. Communication weakened. Affection disappeared. Within 2 years, the marriage collapsed. And the ex-witch said the destruction didn't begin with betrayal or major sin. It began with a spirit of division planted in their bedroom. Because once peace is broken where you sleep, your strength drains faster than you realize. You wake up tired, not just physically, but emotionally. You feel disconnected, unsupported, alone. And that emotional exhaustion weakens your spiritual life. Your prayers lose intensity. Your worship loses passion. Your faith feels heavy. That is the goal. But the ex-witch also revealed something powerful. She said the most frustrating bedrooms were the ones filled with forgiveness. Places where arguments didn't last long. Places where people prayed together before sleep. Places where peace was chosen. Even after conflict. She said those rooms were difficult to penetrate because unity creates spiritual strength. When two people sleep in peace, the atmosphere becomes guarded, protected, stable. Spirits of division cannot survive in an environment where forgiveness is quick, love is active. This is where your authority comes in. If your bedroom has become a place of tension, it can become a place of peace again. If silence has replaced connection, unity can be restored. You must refuse to let the enemy turn your resting place into a war zone. Before you sleep, release offense. Speak peace over your room. Pray for the person beside you, even if you feel hurt, because peace is not just an emotion, it is a spiritual weapon. And when peace fills your bedroom, division loses its assignment. Not every spirit attacks with fear. Not every presence tempts with lust. Not every assignment creates division. Some spirits come with one simple mission: to drain you. The ex-witch said one of the most common things planted in bedrooms is the spirit of oppression. A heavy presence that slowly steals your strength, your motivation, and your spiritual fire. It does not come loudly. It does not announce itself. It does not create dramatic nightmares at first. It comes quietly, like a weight you cannot explain. You wake up tired, even after sleeping 8 hours. Your body feels heavy, your mind feels slow, your spirit feels dull. You used to wake up with purpose, with direction, with energy. But now, mornings feel like a battle. Getting out of bed feels like a burden. Even simple tasks feel overwhelming. The ex-witch revealed that spirits of oppression are often assigned to bedrooms because that is where your daily strength is supposed to be restored. Sleep was designed to renew you, to refresh your body, to restore your mind, to strengthen your spirit. So if the enemy can corrupt your place of rest, he can weaken your entire life. She described how these spirits operate. They do not always cause obvious nightmares. Sometimes they just hover, creating a heavy atmosphere, a spiritual fog. You sleep, but it never feels like enough. You rest, but you never feel restored. You begin to say things like, I'm always tired, I have no motivation, I just feel drained all the time. And you blame work, you blame stress, you blame life. But the ex-witch said sometimes the exhaustion is spiritual, not physical. She told of a young man who once burned with passion for his calling. He prayed daily, he studied the word, he served others with joy. But after moving into a new place, everything changed. He began sleeping longer than usual, 10 hours, 12 hours, sometimes more. Yet he still felt exhausted. His prayer life slowed down, not because he lost faith, but because he felt too tired to pray. His passion faded, his motivation disappeared, his calling felt distant. Within a year, he was spiritually numb, not sinful, not rebellious, just empty. And the ex-witch said that was the goal of the spirit assigned to his bedroom. Not to destroy him overnight, but to slowly drain him until he gave up on his purpose. Spirits of oppression specialize in slow destruction. They weaken you little by little, day by day, night by night, until one day you look in the mirror and barely recognize the fire you once had. But here is the revelation that shocked even the ex-witch. She said spirits of oppression cannot stay where spiritual authority is exercised consistently. She once entered a home where a woman prayed over her bed every single night. Not loudly, not dramatically, just faithfully. Every evening she would anoint her pillow, speak life over her room, declare peace before sleep. The ex-witch said that bedroom felt impossible to penetrate. The atmosphere was light, clear, strong. The spirit assigned to that home kept retreating, night after night, unable to remain in that environment because oppression cannot survive where authority is active. This is your revelation. If your bedroom has become a place of exhaustion, it can become a place of restoration again. If heaviness has filled your nights, strength can return. You must reclaim your place of rest. Pray before you sleep. Speak peace into your room. Declare strength over your body. Command every oppressive presence to leave. Your bed was never meant to be a place of spiritual weakness. It was meant to be a place of renewal. And when you take back your authority, oppression loses its grip. Tonight, your bedroom is no longer a silent battlefield. You have seen the hidden attacks, and now you carry the authority to stop them. No fear will live where your faith stands. No lust will breathe where holiness fills the air. No division will survive where peace is spoken. No oppression will remain where authority is declared. Rise, take back your space, and let every dark thing know. This room belongs to the light.